Roger Station, just coming up, getting our recorder going. Could you come back with your call sign again, please, sir?
Yeah, this is Charlie, K1 George, Zanzibar, London, K1GZL, up in northern New Hampshire at Clarksville, right on the Quebec border. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger. And what was the name again?
Charlie, handle is Charlie.
Roger, Charlie. Tell me about your station, sir. What you're running.
Okay, this is K1GZL. I'm running a 7300, and I'm driving a Maritron AL 1500 up here in northern New Hampshire at Clarksville. I'm just 4 air miles east and southeast of the Quebec border of Canada, and 2.5 air miles directly east of the very northeastern tip of Vermont. And we're using a 3-element diamond-shaped wire quad. Yeah, my friend Jim, WA3FET, told me that you're on Friday morning, so we thought we'd get on and give you a call. I don't know where you're located, but you're certainly 9 plus K1Gs. I'll go right ahead.
Roger, Roger. The name here is Jim, Juliet India Mike. Call again is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. And we're located about 3 miles from downtown Louisville. We're on the Indiana side of the mighty Ohio River, right at Louisville. And your signal is beautiful, Charlie. I'm getting you. I can't give you a real S-meter reading because I've got the front end way down RF gain-wise, so I'm below AGC compression to get the best possible translation of sideband. If you get too hot in the front end RF on sideband, it's like copying CW. You only want to inject enough RF to get the job done. So that's what we're doing. So I can't give you a real S-meter reading, but I am looking at your audio on a VU meter from the output of the radio, and you are 10 dB above my noise level. Roger, Roger.
Okay, well, you're certainly 15 over 9. That's a pretty good haul for this time of day. I think if this were an hour earlier, it would be louder. But you sound good. You sound good, Jim. Just outside of Louisville, Kentucky, on the Indiana side. I've had this 1500. Excuse my voice; it gets a little bit gravelly occasionally. I've had this 1500 for about 1 month. Here. I'd like to try something. If you are making any recording, I'd like to play back just a few seconds of your signal and see how the recorder is working. I'm using a cassette set, which Jim, WA3FET, knew of this fellow that had one for 20 years in his car that had never been opened. So he had gotten an ICOM 7300 about 6 months before I did. In other words, he did a year and a half ago, and he decided to try to see if he could, have the 7300 do work with an output. As the 7300 just has a card, and the card doesn't do anything but just play it back in the shack. Let me try this recording. I hope I didn't go too far back on this.
Radios, and they're very accurate meters. Of course, their antennas are...
Oh, that's Jim, WA3FBT. Let me try to find you here.
Up here.
Oh, boy, this is terrible. Wait a minute.
F9 out there, even louder.
Oh, boy, that's too bad. Wait a minute. I don't have an indicator on here.
Sounds really good. The greatest pick up there.
Wait, just a second. I'm sorry to tie you up here.
Louisville. We're on the Indiana side of the mighty Ohio River, right at Louisville. And your signal is beautiful, Charlie. I'm getting you, I can't give you a real S-meter reading because I've got the front end way down RF gain-wise. So.
Okay, how did that all come through, Jim? KC9 Victor King Victor, K1GZL, Clarksville, northern New Hampshire, elevation 2,030 feet above sea level.
Roger, Roger, Charlie. Made a fine trip. Good recording. Very good. When you finally found me, I was beginning to feel like a needle in a haystack, Roger.
No? Yeah, I know. I don't have, what is it, a turn situation. I have no idea exactly where to stop this thing, but I've had a lot of luck. I've had a luck with it. By the way, if you are making a recording, how soon is it possible to pick it up? I do not have a computer here, but my friend Todd up the road, KV1 Idaho Zanzibar United, does, and Jim told him how to pick it up on his computer, and I'll be over there tomorrow, late tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening. And if it were on there, I could pick it up. Back to you, Jim. And if you had any time, I could tell you about my own personal disaster I had when I was at W1AW, the ARRL, for a summer job back in 1951. But it takes 5 minutes. But if you don't have time, I won't bother with it. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Well, you know, this is a first come, first served basis here. It's kind of like a soft serve ice cream parlor, you know. Just whoever's here first. And gosh, I'd love to hear that, Roger.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, this is something that shook my skull up. Let me tell you how it started. This is K1GZL for ID purposes. Back in 1951. I'm 86 years old as of July 5th. Back in 1951, I was living in Elizabeth, New Jersey, where I was born and raised. And I got on 75 meters. I had gotten I had picked up my, or I had passed my Class A license. It was only Class A and Class B in those days, of course. I got on with 75, and I happened to hear W1AW say, we are now standing by on 3940 or whatever it was. So I got on and called the fellow, had a nice chat with him. And I said, how does a person ever get a job at W1AW up there at ARRL? And he came back and he said, well, that's a funny thing that you're asking me that question, because I have to go into the Air Force in 3 weeks, and we are searching around to try to find an operator for the station. So he said, would you give me your phone number? So I gave him my phone number. And then he called me back and told me who to contact. So the next the next day, I guess it was, it might have been Sunday. I was working, talking to him. He called up. He told me the number to call, and I called up 38 LaSalle Road, West Hartford, Connecticut, which was at that time the headquarters of ARRL. So I said, great. And I called them up, and they said, well, Mr. Morgan, if you'd like to come up here on Thursday, or in other words, 2 or 3 days, we'll interview you at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I got on to New York, New Haven, and Hartford, and got up to Hartford for sure, and got in there, and we got talking, and he says, well, if you are available for employment, we'll try to see what we can do. I'll have somebody, because at that time I did not have transportation. I did not have a car. I had to go up on the train. So somebody took me over to the station in Newington. So I met Murray Powell. Excuse my voice, it goes out in the morning. I met Murray Powell, W1QIS, who lived in Manchester, Connecticut. So Murray took me through the whole station there, and I thought it overwhelmed me. I felt like a little pea, by comparison to what I was seeing in front of me. You come in the front door, here's where it gets interesting. You come in the front door of that red brick building, make a left, and there is the operating position of the station in those days, and you're looking straight ahead, and there are the transmitters. You've got 2, 2, and 2. In other words, you have two tall racks. One is for 20 meters, the next one's for 40, which was all CW back in 1961. There was no 40 phone. Then there were two more, then two more. And behind them were massive, huge antenna tuners, which were the size of my amplifier here, sitting up on a shelf. Had to change the band. You had to go up on a step ladder and change the taps to the marked spot. Good. So everything's there. And the funny thing is that in the station, at the operating position, way over to the left is the bathroom. Wonderful. So when you go to the bathroom, they had no mirror there to shave by. So what happened? They had a picture of Hiram Percy Maxim up on the wall. And and I had to shave looking into the eyeballs of Hiram Percy Maxim. And I had to be very careful shaving because when I looked at his beard, his white beard, I couldn't see anything. So I had to look sort of to the right of his head to shave. Well, anyway, we got on the air. I remember the first night we put on the code practice, and when you turn out all the lights were flickering on and off, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And another thing which happened, which was a disaster, when I came into the station, instead of going left to the operating position, my bedroom was the room on the right. So what happened? There's a closet there. There's a closet. You open it up, you expect to see hangers. You can put your clothes. Oh no, it was all code test. All test code tapes. So what happened one day? I picked up one without thinking, and I put it on the machine. I put it on the machine, and out goes the code practice at 8 o'clock. I believe it was 8 o'clock in the evening on that particular night, and that was every night. They were running up to, I believe, 35 words per minute. And so what happened? Everything's okay for about 2 or 3 for 3 days. Then I get a phone call. Mr. Morgan, we need to see you tomorrow morning here in West Hartford. So I get over to 38 LaSalle Road, and a fellow comes along with a waistband absolutely full of letters. He dumps it upside down, dumps it on the table. And I said, sir, what are all these letters? Don't you know what these are? No, sir, I don't. You put on a qualifying run. You put on a qualifying run that was not scheduled in QSP. And in amateur radio, we are the god of the hobby. So I said, well, I'm so sorry, sir. I just evidently picked up the wrong one. Well, you're going to have to be very careful. We don't do that here. We don't do that. So I went back with my tail between my legs and continued working there. Okay, everything goes fine. Everything goes fine. By the way, the back room on the right, as you look towards the transmitters on the right, is a small room, and that was the ARRL lab at that time. And I remember reading the phone bulletins, and here is the CRPL propagation forecast for July 19th, 1951 to all radio amateurs, blah, 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 blah. And I talked about propagation. So I'm sitting there, Jim, and doing this. That worked out fine. Then I decided to go to the movies here's where I got in trouble. I went to the movies in Hartford, Connecticut on the Hartford, New Britain bus, got into Hartford, and went to the movies. Okay. Then I come back, and then the next day I get a phone call. Mr. Morgan, we want to see you immediately. We want to see you immediately in here. How soon can you get in here? So I said, well, I can be in there within an hour. And so I got in there to 38 LaSalle Road, West Hartford, and they said, you know what? I said, where were you yesterday afternoon? I said, well, I went to the movies in Hartford. Do you realize what happened? Do you know what happened, Mr. Morgan? I went to the movies. Well, a member of the FCC and his wife, commissioner of the FCC and his ex-YL, came in to see the station, and the door was unlocked. You never lock the door. Mr. Morgan, I'm afraid we are going to have to let you go. And after 6 weeks at W1AW, I was let go, and my tail was between my legs. KC9VKV, K1GZL with my tail between my legs.
Roger, Roger. Well, now, I'm not saying that you have some bad luck, but there definitely was a cloud over your head, and it was a dark cloud. But we all, have situations where we are on a steep learning curve, and I think you may have met your match at that ARRL position. It's just a lot that you had to learn in a short time to get there. So I sympathize with you, sir. And an interesting story. It is when you try to expand your horizons, sometimes you have to be careful that the roof doesn't get too low and you bang your head, Roger.
Yeah, it crushed me below sea level, to say the least. I never forgot that episode. But another time and in the future, I'll tell you about an episode I had in Panama, which will knock your socks off. But not now. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger. And just looking at my V meter, you are now like about 12 dB above noise level. So that's a really good signal. And we appreciate you checking in, Charlie. And give me phonetically your call sign one more time.
Yeah, K1 G Guatemala, Z Zebra, L London, K1 Germany, Zebra London, G ZL's on the band.
Okay, K1 Germany, Zebra, London. Roger, Roger?
Roger, Roger. You got it.
All right, Charlie. Appreciate that, sir. Thanks for checking in. And we will be posting these on YouTube within the next couple of days. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. And this QSO will be identified as, let's see, my group Aircheck, date 10/12/18 on 7189. So it'll be ID'd as with the date and the frequency. Roger, Roger?
Roger, Roger. I resonate lower down, but it seems to be working. Okay, well, look, Jim, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure meeting you, and your audio, of course, is absolutely like you're here. Like you're right in the shack here, natural sounding. That's what I like, natural sounding audio, like you're there. Again, thank you so much, Jim, and I didn't mean to take so much of your time. I really didn't. KC9VKV, K1GZL. Been a pleasure.
Roger, Roger. Charlie, 3 is that away, sir, and you have yourself a real good morning. Good talking with you. 3s. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor and the Friday morning QSO-VLOG program. If you happen to have a radio, you want to check out the modulation. We are doing our QSO-VLOG recording, so give us a shout. KC9VKV.
Kilo Charlie 0, Sierra Hotel Victor.
Station calling. Come back with your call sign, please.
Kilo Charlie 0, Sierra Hotel Victor.
Roger, Roger. Good morning. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor, Kilo Victor.
This is Kyle in Iowa. I spoke with you last week. I changed radios, and I thought I'd check it out, see how it sounds. I'm just getting it set up.
Oh, sounds pretty good there, sir. Come back and let me hear you just a little bit.
This is an old FT101 double E Yaesu going through a 30L1 column amplifier, and I've got an old static D104 microphone on it. Can you read it?
Oh, Roger. Well, listen, I want to tell you, my compliments to your operation of that D104. Very few D104s sound good, because that element is an extremely high impedance output element, and a lot of times they, coupling right into a modern transceiver mic input, which is around 600 ohms, they tend to go to sheet 10, very, very tinny, but yours is well balanced. So I'm assuming that D104 is an amplified D104. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. It's got a little battery in it, and got it turned on just a touch, not too much, but yes, it is amplified.
Roger, Roger. Well, see, the amplifier, the output of the amplifier is about 600 ohms or thereabouts, so you have a very good match into your radio because of it having the amplifier there. And the front end of that amplifier is designed specifically for the D104 cartridge, so that works well, and it really sounds good. Roger, Roger.
Roger, I appreciate that. I won't keep you long. I just wanted to check this out. Like I said, just getting it set up, put together. I've got a few things left that I need to do to make it work right, and I'm hopefully we'll be able to use it on other bands as well.
Roger that, Kyle. I don't get a lot of traffic out of Iowa. I'm not sure exactly why that is. So I did recognize your signal, not your signal, but your call sign, and appreciate you checking back in. I think we have maybe slightly better conditions this morning than last Friday, because I am reading you probably about 6 dB above my noise level, and I think last week it was lower than that, Roger.
Yeah, you're right. It's well, and another thing I'm hearing is that it sounds as though there is somebody else on the frequency as well. I'm able to read you very well, but there's somebody in the background.
Roger. Now, that may be, but they kind of come and go, and they're way off. So, I don't think there's a problem there. But you're well over that, Roger.
Oh, good. That's good to know. Well, I'm going to get back to work. I appreciate being able to watch YouTube and hear myself. That's a great deal of help, and it's a nice service you're providing, Jim. I appreciate it. KC9VKV, this is KC0SHV. I'm going to be clear on your final.
Roger, Cal. Well, I appreciate you checking in, sir. Again, your signal is very, very good this morning. Probably about 7 dB. That last one was 7 dB above my noise level. So, a very, very good transmission. And I like your audio. It's very crisp. It's the bottom end is not too extensive down there where it gets in the mud. So I think you're doing a real good job, and we will be posting this within the next couple of days, so you'll be able to evaluate it when you go to YouTube. and do that call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. And today's recording will be my group Aircheck with the date 10/12/18 and the frequency 7189. So threes, Kyle. You have a good day, sir. Thanks for checking in. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor with the Friday morning QSO-VLOG program. If you have a radio you want to check the audio on, give us a shout. We are recording and we'll post it on YouTube within the next couple of days, so you'll be able to check it out. This is KC9VKV.
73s, Jim. Thanks very much.
Roger, Roger, Cal. Threes.
November 8, Uniform Papa.
November 8, Uniform Papa. That's KC9VKV.
Well, good morning to you, Jim. Joe up here in northeast Ohio, about 30 miles east of Cleveland. You're sounding fantastic this morning, doing a good job, and good to hear that you're still doing your vlog. That's awesome.
Roger, Roger. Well, you know, we enjoyed doing it. Give us just an opportunity to meet a lot of folks. And what was your location again?
Northeast Ohio, Painesville. About 30 miles east of Cleveland, about 2 miles from the shores of beautiful Lake Erie.
Roger, Roger. Well, you're doing a great job here. What's the antenna you're running?
The antenna is a homebrew 40-meter dipole that's run flat top up about 35 feet.
Roger. What are you running through antenna tuner?
Oh, yeah, I got the tuner and the amp and everything.
Roger, Roger. I was getting ready to fire up this morning, and a little precursor, you know, I check a standing wave on the barefoot radio, you know, and lo and behold, I'm running an inverted V, and I'm usually running, you know, especially get this one tuned to like 1.01 to 1, very, very, very low SWR, and so I fire it up, and I'm looking, and I'm doing a 1.1 to 1, and I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to make an adjustment on that. Well, what had happened was I put some new security lights up, and I had to undo the end of the dipole on the negative side of the dipole and move it slightly and retension it. And you know, SWR, particularly when you're talking about the difference between 1.1 to 1 and 1.01 to 1, it's a very critical thing. And what happened was I just tightened it up, and I tightened it up just a little bit more than where I had it before. So my SWR went from a 1.01 to 1.1. So I went out there and I was trying to loosen it up, and I got all tangled up, and I had about 3 minutes to get to air. So I said, well, I'm just going to run with a 1.1 this morning.
Yeah, well, I don't think you'll encounter any issues. Even though I have a couple of antennas hooked up to the tuner here, so I'm bypassing the tuner. I mean, I'm running through it, but I'm bypassing it, and my SWR here is a 1.3 to 1. So this dipole is pretty flat across the entire phone portion. So, you know, down from extra all the way to the top of it. That works pretty well, and like I said, only up about 35 feet. So it's not super high. I've got an off-center fed dipole that is up about 55 feet, but for some reason or another, I just get horrible RF on 40 meters when I use the amplifier. So that's why I put up the 40-meter dipole and just totally cut that problem out. Just have a dedicated antenna for 40, and this is all I use for 40. So she seems to work pretty well. Anyways, I just got a new shelving unit installed yesterday, last night as a matter of fact. I've got all the radios up on shelves now here on top of the desk, so it looks a lot cleaner. It looks pretty nice. I don't know if you follow that 100 Watts in a Wire podcast or not, but there's they have a Facebook page, and I threw a picture of the shelving unit up there if you happen to want to go check it out. It's pretty nice, though. NAUP.
Roger that, roger that. Well, you know, what I do on those dipoles, I use a split bolt at the very end. It's kind of like, you know, you see those little antennas, like verticals for 2 meters, and they have the little ball at the end. Well, that's a defining edge end notation. It makes it, without that little glob at the end, it makes it a little more difficult to tune. So I do use a split bolt at the end. And then I take a piece of wire, and like about maybe 18 inches of wire, and dangle off the end and connect it with the split bolt to the main dipole end of the dipole antenna. And what I do is I start, you know, looking at that SWR, and I'm trimming the piece that's hanging down. So I'm not actually trimming the antenna element itself, but just that piece that's hanging down. And it makes it really easy to do and quick to do. You know, you just nibble maybe inch at a time, or inch and a half at a time. And I'm doing on these, and these are inverted V's, and I'm doing the SWR on the negative side, and the bringing it back on frequency on the high side, and just nibbling on those little pieces hanging off the end, which is, like I say, it's so much quicker than actually having to go in and undo the antenna element itself off the insulator and stuff like that. Roger?
Oh, yeah, that seems like a much better way to do it. I've never fiddled around with it that way, but that seems like a much better way. That tuning a dipole is, you know, if you got two people, it's okay. If you have one person, it's just you and an antenna analyzer, it's not too bad. But once you start getting up into a big antenna, like, you know, if you're building a 160 meter dipole, you're walking the length to go nibble a little bit here, and then walk all the way back, nibble a little bit there. That can just be, it can be a long day.
Oh, absolutely, you know, absolutely. And I have found that the most critical thing about dipole antennas is how easy you can get to the ends of the dipoles. If they're a pain in the whatever to get to, you're probably not going to take it down to 1.01 to 1. You'll probably find 1.3 or something to do just fine if it's a major effort to get to those ends. So now anymore when I you know, think about an antenna, I just really concentrate on how simple and quickly I can get to the ends. Roger?
Yeah, that's a great tip. If you can get to them quickly and easily, it's going to be a whole lot easier to tune. Mine is, I could get the SWR down a little bit lower, but, you know, to be quite honest, I'm fine with it where it's at. You know, it's, I think the highest is about a 1.4 to 1, and that's still well within the boundaries, so I don't worry about it too much. But I do run the amp with it. I've got it on now, doing about 600 out, and she seems to play pretty well.
Oh yeah, sounds really good, and very loud for 600 watts. You know, I would expect you'd be doing you know, the legal limit as good as it is. But today it seems like a better day than most for this band, Roger.
Yeah, it seems pretty good right now, and it was pretty good the other day. Was it yesterday or the day before? 40 was actually pretty good, and this was more in the afternoon. You know, I got home from running around doing some stuff, and came down in the shack, and normally wouldn't hear anything, but I said, well, I'll scan through 40 real quick and see if anyone's on, and I heard stations all over the place, so the band was playing pretty well.
Roger, I have begun running without the antenna attenuator on. I used to religiously run with the attenuator on, but you know, I just decided the band is usually in such lousy shape, I'm going to run with it off, Roger.
You know, I usually crank my RF gain back about a third and almost use it as a secondary volume control, and just you know, cut that hiss and static and everything just down. Not necessarily out, but just, you know, cut that RF gain back and just drop that down a bit, and that really helps out.
Oh, Roger. Now, what I've done is I've tied my AF gain and my RF gain together, and I bring them up together as one, just they're both off, calibrated, both off together, and then so I just bring them both up to just below AGC compression as a general rule, and so I'm getting, just introducing as just a bare minimum of RF to get the job done, Roger.
Oh yeah, and it's working well. What kind of amp are you running over there? I forget.
The power amp is SB220, Roger.
Oh, yeah. I've got one lined up to buy. Just waiting to hear back from the guy. But I'm running a 811H right now, and it's a great amp. It works very well. I've had it for some time. And just one issue with it was the SO239 connectors on the back. It's a pre-MFJ amplifier, so, I mean, it was pretty old, and it had a lot of coaxes plugged in and unplugged from it, so those SO239 connectors just kind of crapped out. I replaced those, and man, she's been rock solid since then, but I'm looking forward to getting that SB220.
Oh, I think you'll love it. I mean, I guess there are lemons that have had a hard time, but this SV220 is just beautiful. My Elmer set it up, and he did a magnificent job. It's simple to tune. The only interesting area is up on 10 meters. The way it tunes on 10 meters, you have to be. You have to know just a couple of things of where to start on 10 meters, Roger.
Well, what do you need to know?
I'm sorry?
What do you need to know before you start tuning on 10 meters?
Oh, where to start the load. Because you can. It's very delicate tuning up there. You just breathe, and you're off. So it just you just have to pay attention when you're tuning 10. Everything else is very broad tuning, but 10 is the controls are just very very precise on that frequency.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not up on 10 meters too much. Usually 40, 75. Maybe on 20 every now and again, but even that I'm not usually on, so shouldn't be too much of a problem. Well, Jim, I'll let you go, but I know you got some other guys in there. I appreciate you picking me up, as always, and I'll be sure to check out the it was pretty entertaining to watch. It's always nice to kind of hear yourself, hear your station, so really appreciate that, and I'm sure everyone else will. I'll pass on the 730 to Jim, keep up the vlog, go work some more stations.
Roger, Joel. Well, those conditions have shifted around quite a bit, and you were down towards my noise level that last transmission. So let me say threes up that way. I enjoyed the QSO, and you have a real good day, and thanks for checking in. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor.
Good morning from Kilo Charlie 2, Oscar Mike Uniform.
Kilo Charlie 2, Oscar Mike Uniform. Is that a Roger?
That is a Roger. You have that correct, sir. And the name here is Darren. Delta Alpha, Romeo, India Nancy. Darren. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Where might you be, sir?
I am in central New Jersey, and I've been enjoying your QSO here for a little bit. So, tuning things up to say good morning.
Roger, glad for you to check in, sir. The conditions just seem to be just recently kind of backing up just a little bit. I'm looking at your signal on the output of a VU meter as opposed to an S meter, and I'm reading the output of my receiver, and you look to be maybe about 6 dB above my noise level, but conditions are in a state of flux at the moment, Roger.
Okay, very good. Yeah, you're on my S meter, you're between a 9 and a 10 over 9, and you're coming in very good here to central New Jersey. I heard you talking about your SB220 amplifier, and I have one. I'm not on it right now. That's my I have two amplifiers. I have the SB220 and I have an Ameritron AL82 amplifier. So I like the 3500Z tubes. I just completely redid my SB220. It had good tubes in it, but I rebuilt it completely and has brand new RF parts, tubes in it, has every Harbox mod in it, new cap bang, new, parasitic mod, soft start, new fan, I knew everything. And then I had their chassis stripped and powder coated black. Kind of like a medium flat black and a flat face panel, all new knobs on it, and it looks like a brand spanking new amplifier inside and out. Beautiful amplifier.
Roger, Roger. Now, did you preserve the original paint colors on the exterior?
The face panel, I did. I have the original face panel. I purchased a black face panel that some guy was selling that he made in silk screen, but the case itself, no, that was stripped down to bare metal and powder coated. It's not a big deal. You can get East Green paint and repaint it if you wanted to, but my objective, if you look at my QRZ page, you'll see it on the right side. Everything is black in the shack, and the green stood out like a sore thumb, so I wanted to make everything look beautiful in my shack. So, it's a beautiful amplifier.
Roger, Roger. Now, what do you typically run power-wise on 40? How much out?
Okay, I'm not on 40 a whole lot. I'm usually on 80 meters. Once in a while on 20, and occasionally on 40. Right now, I'm doing about 1,200 watts on the AL82. If I was on the SB220, I'd probably run about 900 watts here.
Roger, Roger. Yeah, that's I run about 950 on 40. Today, and it depends. I'm running it on the 115 volt side. That worked for me when I first set it up, so I just left it that way. I figure if there's a little power back down, then that's going to just be easier on the tubes. But yeah, I run about 950 on 40, 900 on 20, 800 on 15, and 700 on 10 meters. Roger.
Okay, yeah, very good, very good. I heard you also mention that you run an inverted V dipole. That's what I'm running. But my inverted V dipole is a, what do you call it, an inverted V sand dipole. And it's not a conventional one. I have 4 antennas on it. And 80 meters goes east and west, the legs. 40 meters goes not quite north and I forget the directions now. But 40 meters runs another direction, the legs. 20 meters another direction, and 10 meters is vertical. I have a vertical whip on top of my mast for 10 meters, and then a leg that comes down slightly off the mast for 10 meters. So I have 10, 20, 40, and 80, and they all go different directions and tie into a one-to-one balance and go into my radio. I have a Pulsar AT2K tuner, and I have my radio is an FTDX 5000 I'm running here.
Roger, Darren. I'd never thought about a fan dipole run in different directions. Usually, the fan dipole is run under each other, configured under each other. But yeah, you could definitely spread that out in many different directions. But would it still? I guess since it's got a common transmission line, it still would be a fan dipole, Roger.
Yeah, right. someone's doing some kind of digital mode on top of us here, but yeah, it's still considered a fan dipole because it has the common feed point, and I think I run all 12 gauge wire for each band, and I think the antennas interfere with each other less when they're separated. So when I, tuned it with the antenna analyzer, you go around checking each band, I think it interferes less, with each band, as you're tuning it. And then you can, because 80 meters I like to run east and west delay, because I want my signal to be best north and south. 20 meters, I want to get like DX across the country or overseas, so I run that like north and south, so my signal goes east and west. And, so that's the way I set it up. And then 40 meters is somewhere in between. So, I set it up to work, so my signal is strongest where I want each band to go.
Roger, well, you're absolutely correct there. That was the thing that I, thought about the dipole, from the standpoint of interaction between the different, antennas, one over the other, and there definitely is an interaction. So, by spacing them out from each other, you have a whole lot less interaction. So that's a really good idea. And I have to think about that. You could save a bunch of bucks by just using the one transmission line without having to run other transmission lines to the other antennas.
Yeah, I've been running this setup now for like 12 years probably. I've replaced the wires, once or twice, and I replaced the bowline and the coax, but I put it up exactly like it was. So, I've been running this antenna configuration for about 12 years now, and I absolutely love it. I get, great signal reports on every band. The 10 meter, not so much. I'm going to put up a different antenna for 10 meters. I'm not happy with the 10 meter performance, but 20 meter, 40, and 80 work phenomenal.
Roger, Darren. Let me give you a thought maybe for 10 meters. When I first started as a technician, I had, restrictions that, but I could transmit on 10 meters. So I developed 3 antennas for 10 meters. A quarter wave about 40 feet up a tower, and then a 5/8 fairly low, about 20 feet off the ground. And then my best antenna turned out to be a full wave 36-foot loop antenna. And this was not a round loop, it was a PVC frame, which was 10 foot on the horizontal and 8 foot on the vertical. And I used RG6, strung around the frame as the element. And it was mounted vertically, and it was only, let's see, I put a rotor on it so I could rotate the loop, and the rotor was about 10 feet off the ground, and then you had another 8 foot for the top of it, so it was around 20 feet, at the highest point, but very, very quiet. The loop antenna is extremely quiet, and by the ability to rotate it, I could put it into the field and max the received signal, and the nulls off the ends were just unbelievable. You could take a 50 dB signal and just null that thing right out. I mean, just absolutely null it out, Roger.
Okay, very good. That's very interesting with the loop antenna. Okay. Well, my plan was actually, I have an antenna. I had it sitting down here in my basement. It's brand new. I've had it for about 2 years. It's an IMAX 2000 vertical antenna. It's a pretty big antenna. What is it? 17 feet long vertical. But I've heard other guys use them, especially when 10 meters is open, or local rad shoes, if you're both running verticals. more local 10-meter stuff, or even repeater stuff. It's a pretty versatile antenna, the IMAX 2000. So I have a brand new one sitting here, but I don't do 10 meters that often, so I will put it up one day. For 6 meters, I have a PAR omni-angle antenna up on the mast, and when 6 meters opens, you can use anything. And I've talked to Hawaii, Alaska, everything on that PAR omni-angle on 6 meters when it's been open. So that works pretty well. But pretty happy with, my antenna setup, except for my 10 meters. And I have one, so we'll get that set up soon. 2-meter 440, I have a Diamond 510 antenna, and I have a KC 736R, and that has 220 in it as well. And I'm pretty happy with my station. As far as my audio goes, I'm using an RE27 into a W2IHY 8-band EQ and an EQ Plus. And then I also use the EQ in my TDX 5000 radio. So that's what I'm using for my audio over here.
Roger, Darren. Really good, good EQ there. You have a very strong bottom end. One aspect of that is, though, that sometimes when you do not have best band conditions, you possibly, your signal, whatever you're putting out, is not necessarily getting to the receive area as best as possible, and some of your signal is becoming blow-by. That goes on up to the next reflector, up in the atmosphere, and that may be bending back down, And what happens is you have phase angle distortions, which is actually phase angle out of phase, and that out of phase canceling starts at the high frequencies and works down. So if where you are transmitting a very balanced audio signal with a lot of bottom end and a good top end, sometimes at the distant location, if you have any reflection of those your signal back down, it's coming at maybe out of phase, and it'll start at the top, and you may lose part of that top end to keep the balance with the bottom end, if you know what I mean.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. When you run, I actually, I'll tell you what I did, but when the wider you make the more bass and the wider you make your signal, the more it's going to dissipate the farther it gets away because it's wider. So I was running 4K wide. I'm down to 2.9 now, and usually running a narrower band filter will help it as well. So running at 2.9, does that help cut through a little bit better?
Yeah, it does. I wonder why that would be, because you're actually limiting your top end. Your bottom end is not being restrictive at any bandwidth. Is that not correct?
Yes. And, but wait, see, like I said, I'm usually up on 80 meters, and all the guys I talk to, it's like, you have to sound like Howard Stern, or like, what are you doing on our frequency? It's kind of a joke, but we have fun doing it, and I enjoy it. So we play with our audio, and, we all try to outdo each other with our audio. And it's just part of, don't have to do it, but kind of like part of the fun we have playing up on 80 meters. But so yeah. Usually when if I go to 20 meters, I'll narrow it up, really narrow, on 20 meters. But I don't like to start playing with the EQs, because once you get them set, I don't like to play with them that much. But yeah, so I usually will change my bandpass filter, narrow it up on on a noisier band. KC2OMU.
Roger, Darren. That is interesting. Particularly like in bad band days. It just you can hear it, like if you're really listening and you have a very good receiver or speaker even, you know, they have this $5,000 speaker and a $2, I mean, it's $5,000 radio with a $2 speaker, you know, a whopping 3-inch speaker inside this radio, and you're going to discern some kind of critical audio listening, you know. It's crazy. You got to get out of the box. You got to get out of the radio box and get, you know, some kind of monitoring system that you can actually hear something, you know. And once you do that, then you can start hearing those nuances of the signal being degradation down from the top, you know. It's just like somebody turning a tone control down. But you can't hear that with a $3 speaker, Roger.
Oh, you can't say that enough. No, I run my speakers. I don't know if you've ever heard of KRK rocket speakers, and I have a Cybersonic equalizer system. You know, it's like a box that I can control my tone controls on into the speakers. They're powered speakers, you know, very high-powered speakers. Matter of fact, I have a switch on my speakers where I use them on my computer as well, or I play my music, you know, I have it hooked up to a Bluetooth as well where I can switch it to that. And, I mean, these speakers will rock out. Okay? But that's the speakers I use for my radio. They're 2 KRK Rocket 5 speakers, so with the Cybersonic tone control system. So they're... when I'm listening to someone that has good audio, it sounds like a regular FM radio station.
Roger. Well, you know, audio's the thing, and that's all we have to do. Our audio being transmitted to somebody else, and their audio coming back to us, you know, and so you know, we have to, and then you know, it is what your station is, what you want it to be. So and that's the beautiful thing about this hobby. You can just do, you know, so many things and experiment, and that's the beauty of it, I think.
Oh yeah, that's what keeps me interested in the hobby. I just started playing with you know, some digital stuff with the Yaesu wires, and I got a DMR radio with hotspot, and you know, I got those things all set up and played with those for a little while. But you know what? I got very bored with them very fast. Although you can talk to people around the world, people are very nice and friendly, and you know, on those bands, but there's something about talking over internet. It just didn't do it for me, you know. I like to be talking RF, you know, and it just, to me, it's just not, it loses its excitement when you're going through, you know, an internet connection to communicate. So, yeah, I got this, my Yaesu 5000, just over a year ago now, and I am loving it. It's a beautiful radio. The filtering on it is amazing. I can quiet down the noisiest conditions on it. My last radio is an FT950 Yaesu, and I still have that hooked up on a switch. I can switch to that if I want, but that's my, I guess, let's call it my backup radio, but I still have that in line here. But my 5000 is, you know, it's so funny because all the guys now are into these new SDR radios, the Flex radios, and the, what's that other Indian radio? Can't think of the name of it, but, you know, they're all into these SDR radios. Now, they sound great on the air. I can't say anything bad about them. They sound spectacular, and you can fine-tune those things, and they sound unbelievable. But me personally, I'm just not into a computer, you know, operated radio. I like to look at my displays. I like to have all my knobs in front of me, and my 5000 is a pretty big radio, and it has lots of knobs and buttons on it, and that's what I need. I don't, and the Flex radios are great. I won't say nothing bad about them. It's just a personal thing. I don't want a box for a radio that I have to use my computer for, and that's just a personal, you know, preference. But they do sound good.
Roger, Roger, Darren. Well, listen, I've really enjoyed it, sir. I'm glad you dropped by, and we have obviously been recording, and we will be loading this up on YouTube in the next couple of days. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. And this session will be ID'd as my group Aircheck. Date 10/12/18, frequency 7189. So that's the way we ID it, because we usually talk to so many folks. We couldn't put all their call signs in the title, so we just mainly titled it by the date and the frequency. Roger.
Okay, very good. I'll be sure to check that out and enjoy the ride too. I'm not the kind of person that likes to get on the radio and say, "Hey, how are you? Signal's great, 5-9. Thank you for the contact." I'm not really into that. I enjoy talking to a person, and like we're having a regular conversation. So I did enjoy the QSO. Thank you for spending the time with me, and you have a great day. Hope all goes well for you. I'll say 73, this is KC2, all on you, and I'll listen out.
Roger, Roger, Darren. 3's up that way. You have a good day, sir. Enjoyed it. This is KC9VKV in the Friday morning QSO-VLOG session. If you have a radio, you want to check the modulation on, give us a call. We are recording, and we'll... a couple of days, the shift is back up to YouTube, and you'll be able to go there and hear your station. It's KC9VKV. Roger, station, stand by. Sir, with your birdie, what are you, some kind of nut? Why don't you do something constructive instead of being a a-hole? Why would you want a birdie's an operating frequency? You're ridiculous. You're a child. Grow up. Do something responsible instead of being an idiot. Go ahead, station.
Yeah, this is Whiskey 8, Bravo Mike. Our name here is Pete. And we're located in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. Just wanted to say good morning to you.
Roger, Roger. Keith, come back with your call sign again.
Yeah, QSL, the name is Pete. Papa Echo Tango Echo. Pete is the name. And the call sign is Whiskey 8, Bravo Mike. Whiskey 8, Bravo Mike.
Roger, Pete. Roger that, and good morning to you, sir. You're sounding good. Coming in from, what was that? What was your look at? Michigan. Good morning.
Yeah, hey, good morning. Good morning to you. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to switch to another rig here. If you can give me about, between a minute to a minute and a half. I wanted to see if what the difference is. I'm using a ICOM 756 Pro 3. I'm in my station on the top floor of the house here right now, and I wanted to move down to the main shack and get a report from you. Down there I have an ICOM 7610, and I'm also I have an audio chain that I kind of put together to hopefully add a little bit of EQ and substance to the audio. QSS?
Roger, Pete. Thing is, you're giving me maximum about a 5 over my noise level, about a 5 dB over my noise level, but the signal is in a state of flux. So, it might be difficult to tell the difference. It's not exactly great AB weather, Roger.
QSL, no problem. Yeah, I was going to go down to the shack anyway, so I'll give you a call in about a minute or a minute and a half, okay?
Sounds good, sir. Sounds good. That last one was a 6 dB over noise level, so we'll be listening for you, Pete, out of Michigan as you shift radios, and we'll just talk here for a second as you're running down the hall or running up the stairs or however you're getting there, parachute out the window, I don't know. But this is KC9VKV in our Friday morning QSO-VLOG session. We usually run between 10:30 and noon, and we record your station and then play it, ship it up to YouTube, and so then you can go and hear your audio in about as pristine a condition as possible. It's all right for somebody to record and then play back over the air, but there is a degradation there when they play back, so you can't exactly hear what's going on, or it is what's going on, with a little added degradation of the transmission back to you. So this way, by posting it up on YouTube, you can hear it precisely as I heard it, and get a better feel for your what's happening with your audio. So I don't know if Pete's had a chance to motivate down the hall or where he was going to try his other radio, but let me see. Pete, you still there?
Yeah, KC9. This is Whiskey 8 Bravo Mike. I switched to the other radio, the other microphone, and just curious to see how I might be doing.
Well, Pete, conditions have shifted now. You were right at my noise level. Some of that, the beginning of that transmission, you were up a little bit. I might be able to hear some difference there, but the end of it, you were down towards my noise level. But come back and let me see if we can get some more audio there, Roger.
Yeah, QSL, I think we're at a peak here right now. You just came up to about a 15 over. KC9VKV, this is Whiskey 8 Bravo Mike. The name is Pete, and we're located in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. We're about 20 miles north of the city of Detroit. And we got ourselves a very cold day. So I'm going to put a jacket on and drive up to East Lansing, Michigan, and pick up my son here in about another 2 hours from Michigan State University, and bring him back home here for the weekend so he can enjoy some home cooking. So anyway, the rig is Icon 7610, and we're running it just into an Edfin. Sorry about that. And the microphone here is a Audio-Technica 4033, and I'm running it through an audio chain here that I kind of put together the last couple of weeks. KC9VKV, here is Whiskey 8 Bravo Mike.
Roger. Well, sounds good. Frankly, I might not be able to tell the difference between the one station and the other station, If all things being different and the creeks didn't rise, I'm not real sure I could tell the difference between the two, Roger.
Yeah, QSL, well, that's absolutely fine, and you probably won't be able to tell unless I had a stronger signal, so it's not a good AD day. I get it. It's probably best, when you got a 20 over signal, and then you could kind of go back and forth, and then you could tell the difference. Either way, I'm just happy that you're able to hear me, and things sound good. You got a good signal over here. You're anywhere between an S9 and a 15 over here. So it sounds really good. I'm using a compromised antenna, like I said. It's an end fed into an unknown, a 9-to-1, and
Gosh, Pete, you did phase out on that last transmission. We did lose you on that last transmission. But anyway, I think there's enough there that you could probably hear yourself, and between the two to see what you think. We'll be posting this up on YouTube in within the next couple of days, and so then you can go there and check it out. It's YouTube, and do the call letter search, KC9VKV, and then that'll open up the QSO-VLOG page, and then look for a session called My Group group Aircheck, dated 10/12/18 on 7189. Roger, Roger. Name here is Jim, Juliet, India, Mike. Roger.
All right there, Jim. Well, no problem whatsoever. We got it down, and thanks for offering that service there. I will definitely go to your call on YouTube and look it up sometime next week to see how far it really is.
Roger, Roger, Pete. 3 set away, sir. You did fade out all the way that time. So anyway, you have a real good day. We appreciate the QSO, and thanks for dropping by. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor, with the Friday morning QSO-VLOG session. If you've got a radio you want to check the audio on, give us a shout. We'll be recording, and we are recording now, and then we'll have it uplifted to... uplifted. Sounds like some kind of a... well, anyway, uploaded to YouTube, and within the next couple of days, and you can drop by YouTube and do the call letter search. And the session for this one is my group Aircheck, dated 10/12/18, with a frequency of 7189. This is KC9VKV. There's a couple of stations out there. Loudest one, take it away. RPU, is that correct?
Roger, Roger. Kilo Echo 0, Romeo Papa Uniform.
Okay, we had a little, somebody tuning up on the frequency. I got Kilo Echo, repeat your call again, please.
Kilo Echo 0, Romeo Papa Uniform.
Roger, Roger, and the name, please?
Name is Dennis, Delta Echo Nora, Ida Sierra.
Gosh, you're right towards my noise level. Try one more time, please.
The name is Dennis, Delta Echo Nora, Ida Sierra. Dennis.
I got you, Dennis. Roger, Roger. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. I thought I'd try to jump in here real quick and see how my radio is sounding. I'm only using 100 watts on an ICOM 7300 and a half-wave NFED wire up in a tree. And I'd like to check the audio between the ICOM 7300 and my Yaesu FT891, if possible.
Yes, sir. Gosh, that 7300 sounds really nice. Can you AB quickly so you can actually tell in real time? If you can actually do that like within 20 seconds or so, you can do a nice AB. But when it gets longer than that, conditions are shifting around, and you can't be absolutely sure that that's an honest AB test. Roger.
Roger on that. I think I can do it. All I got to do is switch my antenna input connection, but I will have to shut one radio off.
Roger, Roger. Okay, you're giving me your 8 dB above my noise level on that radio. Go ahead and make your change, and I'll be standing by. You're 8 dB above noise level on that first radio.
Roger, Roger. I'm on the FT891 right now. Now the antenna tuner is kicked in, so I'm on the FT891 right now. I want to compare audio against the ICOM 7300.
Roger, Roger. Now, the thing I noticed is that your dynamic range is seems to be better on the 7300. You might check your ALC on your second radio to be sure you're up to snuff on your audio on your second radio. Roger, Roger.
I will do that, sir. I really appreciate you letting me do this. I heard you in there, first time I ever heard you in there, so I thought I would give it a try. Could you give me the information on the YouTube channel and
your call sign again and everything I need to know to check how this sounds on YouTube?
Roger, if you go to YouTube, you do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that will bring up our QSO-VLOG page, and on that page there will be a QSO-VLOG program called My Group Aircheck, date 10/12/18, and frequency 7189. So we ID this QSO-VLOG by the date and frequency. Roger?
Roger on that. And we're on 7.189. Let me see if I've got this correct. Go to YouTube, check KC9V Victor Kilo Victor. Go to My Group Aircheck and look for the date of today's date, and the frequency is 7.189.
That's a Roger. That's a Roger. And you definitely, on your radio that you're on now, you're almost no processing. It's just almost straight audio, whereas your 7300 had a nice dynamic range. You're probably running about 4 dB or so dynamic range, which is, a nice fat signal. Whereas this radio would be, if you were running processing on this radio, you would probably sound better. Roger.
Roger on that. I'm going to switch back to the 7300 real quick.
All right, we're standing by. You were 6 dB above noise level in that last one.
All right, I'm back on the 7300. Hopefully there's a little bit of change to it. I will get into the FD891 after I'm done and go ahead and set that processor up a little bit. Thank you. I really do appreciate this.
Roger that. Yeah, that's 7300. It's just a beautiful radio, and it comes, as close to ready to go as I've ever heard a radio. I've never heard a bad 7300. So, I would say check your second radio for, go to your ALC and look to see what, if you're mid-scale, to 2/3 deflection on your ALC. That, it just maybe a matter of just turning the mic level up to bring that ALC mid-scale. Roger.
Roger on that. I will do that as soon as I get off.
Roger. 3 is that away, sir. Thanks for dropping by, and you have a really good day. This is KC9VKV and the Friday morning QSO-VLOG program. If you have a radio you want to check out the audio, give us a shout. We'll be recording it and then posting it within the next couple of days up on YouTube. So you can go there and do a call letter search for KC9VKV. And then the session will be My Group Aircheck, dated 10/12/18 on a frequency 7189. Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Foxtrot station, come back with your call sign.
Yeah, Victor Echo number 3, November Yankee Foxtrot.
Roger, and what's the name?
The name is Gary, Golf Alpha Radio Yankee, and we're running an FT450D. I'm using a microphone that I haven't used before. It's a new one to me. It's a Yaesu MD100, and I just wondered how that was sounding.
Oh, sounds beautiful, sir. It sounds really great. Let me hear you some more. Tell me about your radio and what you like best about it.
The Yaesu FT450D Delta, and we're in Brantford, Ontario, and I'm just using a G5RV antenna
at the moment. So anyway, I'll just turn it back over to you. I haven't been on this net before, and I just was going around and heard you on and thought I'd make a call and check, because I have not really, this microphone is new enough that, oddly enough, this is the first contact I've made using this mic. I did use the hand mic for the station for quite a while. Anyway, back to you.
Roger, Roger. It's beautiful sound, beautiful sound. You're rolling off some of the bottom, so it's not as heavy on the bottom end as some, but your intelligibility is just astronomical. And you're up in Canada, so you're running, 5,000 watts they let them run up there?
No, I'm just running 100 watts, 100 watts.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. Beautiful signal, Roger.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you. And I'm glad that the mic is working good. And I'll turn it back over to you, and you can go and give an evaluation to someone else. B3NYX 73, and have a good day.
Roger, Roger, sir. Well, if you, we're doing a QSO-VLOG recording as we speak, so if you wanted to hear what your radio sounded like, give us, you go to YouTube. Within the next couple of days, we'll upload to YouTube this QSO-VLOG, and if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, and this session will be ID'd as my group Aircheck 10-12-18, which is the date, and the frequency 7189. So three's up that way.
Well, thank you very much for that, and I'll certainly tune in to YouTube. 73.
Roger, Roger. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. We're coming up on noontime. We usually wrap up on noon. If there's anybody left that wants to do a quick air check, come back. This is KC9VKV.
Kilo 4, Kilo Papa Tango.
Papa Tango station. Come back with the call sign again.
Okay, the full call is Kilo 4, Kilo Papa Tango, and I'm located here in beautiful Kingsport, Tennessee. And just thought I would check in here this morning, over.
Beautiful signal. What's the name there in Tennessee?
Okay, the name here is Harry Hotel Alpha Romeo Romeo Yankee. And your signal says, well, over 10 dB overnight. The whole time I've been listening to you. And as soon as we started QSO there, your signal kind of dropped. Over.
Roger. Yeah, conditions I think are starting to get a little flaky because your second transmission, you were down at my noise level. The first one you were took my head off, Roger.
Thanks for taking my question today. KC9VKV from K4, KCK.
Roger there, Tennessee. You have faded to my noise level, so we'll say threes for now. Thanks for dropping by. I wish conditions would have held out more than 5 seconds, but this band's tricky, boy. You got to wear cleats. You got to wear cleats on this channel. At least you fall from grace. Anyway, is there anybody else out there that needs a quick air check? One more time. There was about 3 stations, but they were all towards my noise level. Loudest one, try it. I really couldn't copy anybody, and we're coming up on noontime, so one more time, really quick. Anybody needs an air check? I heard Quebec. Quebec station, try again. Quebec station, you're about half a dB above my noise level. Not much. Maybe we can do it next Friday. We'll be back next Friday, God willing, and the creeks don't rise, and we'll do it again. But we're going to wrap for now. So we appreciate everybody that participated in our QSO-VLOG. This will be posted up on YouTube within the next couple of days, and it's long form, which is about an hour and a half long. And then we will probably be editing out certain entities to post separately. There's stronger stations that may be a little clearer, we will maybe post out separately, but we will be posting the whole QSO, hour and a half long, up on YouTube. So if you do a YouTube search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that'll bring you to the our QSO-VLOG page, and on that page you will find one of the programs that will be called My Group Aircheck, and be identified with the date 10/12/18, and the frequency is 7189. So for now, appreciate everybody checking in, and we'll do it next Friday. 3 is for now. This is KC9VKV. We'll be clear.
Whiskey 5 Alpha Whiskey Mike.
Whiskey Mike station, real quick.
Yeah, James, I was just seeing if I could get in there real quick, trying a new setup down over here, so I was trying to get in, but I guess them other stations were covering me up there, Roger.
Well, you know, sometimes, you know what a round robin is on 2 meters, where everybody gets in and talks and talks and talks, and sometimes conditions kind of do a round robin. I've got a really good copy on you now, Roger.
Roger, Roger. Well, the call here again is Whiskey 5 Alpha Whiskey Mike. The name is Pat, Papa Alpha.
Roger, Pat. Roger, Pat. And where are you?
I'm located in Lauderdale, Mississippi over here. And like I said, I was trying a new setup over here. I'm running a RA20 mic into my Icon 7300. And got that running into an ACOM 600S amp, and running it through a dipole antenna about 40 foot at the apex. Up to the legs are almost north-south orientated, and the ends up off the ground about 10 feet. Roger there, James?
Oh, Roger, Roger. Yeah, that last transmission, you were 7 dB above my noise level, and you've got the right mic. You've got definitely the right radio. So you know, you got it going on, Roger.
Roger, Roger, James. All right, man. Thanks for holding out there just for a second, man. Try to get me in there, and I really appreciate it. I know you were trying to get out of there, but I'll wait a few days, man, if you were recording this one at all, and I'll wait and see how it turned out anyway, see what it sounded like over the air there. But anyway, I appreciate it. 73C, and have yourself a fine day, and we'll catch you out here maybe again next Friday then. So,
Roger, Roger. 3's that away, sir. And like I say, if you go to YouTube and do that call letter search, KC9VKV, that'll take you to the page, and then the session will be today's My Group Aircheck with today's date 10/12/18, and the frequency 7189. So 3 is that away, and we are gone this time. It's KC9VKV. See you next Friday at 10:30 as we broadcast from 10:30 to noon with our QSO-VLOG. So 3 is for now. Catch you later. It's KC9VKV clear.